interesting is that Philip's come out and defended the show again, the actual show and channel that sacked him and booted him out a few weeks ago. Maybe someone said to him and said, come on, you need to say something. But really, do we take Philip's word now on anything, given that he's come out sensationally on the weekend and said he lied about having a relationship with a junior member of staff on the show and had lied to the channel themselves? Can we trust Philip on his word? So we are where we are. We've seen Dr. Ranj has come out yesterday, and he's now spoken out to say that he left the show, and he pointed out and said to bosses that there was a toxic atmosphere behind the scenes that didn't sit well for him, especially with him being a doctor. He was noticing things and he brought it to the attention, and it was swept under the carpet. And that backs up what I've been told by former staff over the weekend, sources who I've been speaking to, who they themselves have told me about this toxic culture that's been going on behind the scenes. One person claimed to me that they were told to sign an NDA to go away quietly. So when you're hearing stories like this, Dawn and Emily, you have to wonder, is there more to it than what the channels say? The channels come back fighting, as we've seen. They're denying these reports. Kevin Ligo yesterday was filmed denying it. So they're standing by that this morning's a very happy place, a very happy atmosphere, and that they knew nothing of this so-called relationship between Philip and this former member of staff, and they weren't aware of it, and that when they did ask him, he denied it, as did the former member of staff. What is interesting is the former member of staff, God bless him, who's trying to get on with his life peacefully, has now come out and said and denied that he was ever asked by this morning bosses if things were going on. So he's now denied what they're claiming. He's saying that's not true. He did go to them and he was never asked, and he was not really looked after. So when the person themselves in question is saying this, you really do have to ask questions. Who is telling the truth here? Is it the show? Is it the editors working there, or is it the people who have been involved and have been there behind the scenes?
Well, Sarah, I think it looks quite clear that there's lots of people trying to protect their own reputations, which is understandable. Philip Schofield's latest Instagram post saying that there's people with grudges against him or the show itself. It all looks rather bitter, doesn't it?
Well, you can point out, is it bitter? Does it look bitter? That's what he's saying. He's saying it's the same voices. Well, no, Philip, I'm afraid it's not the same voices. We're hearing from a variety of voices, different voices coming through. Who would have thought Dr. Ranj, of all people, who never puts a foot wrong, is absolutely terrified of bad press and was always very protective of the show. And I used to interview him over the years on red carpet. He was always so positive and enthusiastic. So for Dr. Ranj now to come forward with this really strongly worded statement, it speaks volumes. That's not someone we expect.
But Sarah, it's easy to come out now, though, isn't it? You know, where were all these people throughout? If ITV's This Morning was such a toxic place to work and everyone was bullies and all of this stuff, why was no one saying it at the time?
Well, one of the people that I've been communicated with over the weekend, they tell me that they were told to sign an NDA. Now, that's their allegation. Obviously, I haven't gone yet to the channel with that. I'm just compiling a dossier at the moment. But it's just interesting that people are coming forward and making these claims. But people are frightened. They are frightened to put their head above the parapet and to speak out. So this is why journalists, we have to investigate. This is why it's taken such a long time to get to where this is. Your own colleague, Dan Wootton, he himself said he went to the channel in 2019. That was 4 years ago, and it was swept under the carpet. And as I said to you yesterday, Emily, on this show, why was this huge, big fanfare, this big coming out for Philip Schofield back in early 2020? That in itself sparked suspicions, not just from journalists, but from members of the public. But it's taken until now for things to come through. And this is what we see with these big scandals, which we've seen with the BBC before in the past with Jimmy Savile. And I'm not liking it to that, but we've seen other TV scandals in the past, and it does seem to be after the event. that things do come out. But look, we have to weigh up what everyone's saying carefully. We have to, there's two sides to every story. That's the point of a journalist, is we look at everything, we remain impartial, and we examine the facts and the cases that are in front of us. And that's what we're all doing. We're seeing where does the truth lie? Who is telling the truth? Something's clearly gone on. It's resulted in Philip leaving the show. It's resulted in the disintegration of his relationship, his so-called TV best friend, his off-screen TV best friend and on-screen wife, Holly Willoughby. He's no longer working on ITV. Why? Why is he gone from everything? Why are people like Dr. Ranj coming forward now and making the claims that they're saying? Why is the likes of Philip's former colleague, your colleague, Eamon Holmes, saying what he said? Something stinks here, and journalists are getting to the bottom of it, and this is why there is the investigation and the search and the actual...
Just one final question. You mentioned Holly there and your paper today, or your sister paper, The Mirror. Holly, I will be staying. How easy will it be for her to stay? Because you don't look at Holly without thinking about Philip Schofield. Now, they were joined at the hip. So if you could just briefly say what you think Holly's chances of survival are in this situation now.
Well, Holly was ITV's golden girl, and they're still protecting her and keeping her as ITV's golden girl. But viewers are starting to turn against Holly, and they're starting to wonder, is she impacted in this? How much did she know? She's saying that she knew nothing, but people are questioning her statements and saying, really? You went on holiday with this man. You were socialising with this man. You're pictured with Philip and the person in question, and yet you say you had no idea of what was going on. So this has, unfortunately for Holly, it has damaged her brand. Whether she can survive it, we'll see. As I say, Holly is ITV's golden girl. She's being protected. She's got the backing of ITV bosses. And other people have said, well, what's Holly done wrong? She's done nothing wrong. So she probably will survive. However, I think that she will have lost a bit of favour with the public, and it'll be very interesting to see ITV share prices as well later on today, because I think they will be taking a bit of a tumble too, but we'll see what unfolds with that as well.